Yo, yo, yo. Looks like we are live. What's going on? What's happening? I am going late and because I want to get with some of these people on the West Coast. So I'm going late today. Let me turn my phone up because I'm gonna have the Twitter spaces going. So let me get that started. Start now. Turn this up. There we go. All right, so we good. I don't know if anybody gonna join in, but we'll see. So literally, when I'm cross training, and that's what I call it. When I cross train, I'm doing YouTube Live and I'm doing Twitter Spaces all at the same time. So if anybody wants to have something to say, I can get them. Sounds like a call-in show. So I'm getting them on Twitter Spaces, but they can hear it on the mic. So hopefully a couple people will join in. I just hit the go button, so we'll see how it goes. But week one in the NFL is done, and what an interesting week it was. Of course, with the whole Aaron Rodgers situation. That was crazy. But before I get into that, um, I gotta put this out there, and this is just in honor of my guy, my coach, Roy Kidd. Roy Kidd passed away today, 91 years old. He was my head coach at Eastern Kentucky University. Had an opportunity to talk with him late last year, and I think he had just got into not just, but very recently had moved into like assisted living and stuff like that. So I'm not sure what the timeline was, but I got in touch with a guy named Carl Parks from Eastern Kentucky, and he connected me with Coach Kidd. So I actually had the opportunity to have a conversation with him. And after everything that happened, I actually reached out to Carl to say thank you, just to get me that opportunity to talk with him, because you never know um, when it's going to be your last opportunity to talk with somebody, let them know you love them and all of that kind of stuff, man. Hey, tell your people you love them while they're here. Don't wait till tomorrow. Tell them now. So, uh, so very thankful that I had an opportunity to talk with them, to tell them like, Coach, I love you and I appreciate you and take care of yourself. And just having the opportunity to be coached by somebody like Coach Kidd. I was a late bloomer coming out of high school. Um, so I wasn't supposed to be anything special, but but it was cool, man. It was cool going to EKU and doing what I did because nobody expected it. I was a no name kid from Cincinnati, Ohio. When all everybody else at EKU at the time, EKU was recruiting strong from Georgia and Florida. We had a lot of guys from Georgia and a ton of guys from Florida. Matter of fact, the guy that was there, the main guy, big man on campus that was there before me was a guy named Elroy Harris from Maitland, Florida. This dude was like 5'9", 225 running back. Now back then, you talking the early '90s. You talking? I got to school in spring of '88, fall of '88 was my freshman year at Eastern Kentucky. And back then, if you were 225 and you were a running back, you were huge. And this kid could run, had thighs the size of tree trunks, and was running over everybody. They called him the flipper because every time he scored a touchdown, he would do a backflip. He ended up uh, getting drafted late, playing for the Seahawks for a little bit. Um, and then I stepped in and I broke every record that he set. And I became the EKU and 1AA all-time leading rusher for a number of years. I forget how many years I actually held the record, and I believe some kid from Maine broke it. I'm not even sure if that's still the record, um, but yeah, man. Coach Kidd gave me an opportunity, and I turned that opportunity and a chance to play for the Eagles and play overseas in NFL Europe and in Canada and all of that kind of stuff. It just all that stuff started from a coach seeing me. He told me he didn't think he could recruit me because he thought another school, a bigger school, was going to get me, so he didn't bother offering me a scholarship. But nobody, the only big school I went to, I wanted to go to Arizona State, but they wasn't interested. I wanted to see if I could get any interest at the University of Kentucky because at that time Kentucky wasn't necessarily good, but back then it was like if you went to a D1 school, you did something. A couple of my boys went to Michigan State. A couple of them went to Ohio State. I visited Toledo, but didn't like Toledo at all. And like I said, I was a late bloomer, so I see one of my high school teammates. This guy was a senior my sophomore year in high school, so he was 3 years ahead of me. But when we would come down in the summertime, everybody would come to my high school to lift. Right? Everybody would come to the high school to lift. And I saw him, and he asked me had I signed with anybody, and I said no. He said, "Why don't you come down to Richmond with me, Richmond, Kentucky?" So I rode down to Richmond with him just on the hum, just seeing him in the weight room. And that weekend, I rode down to Richmond, Kentucky, met Coach Kidd, toured the campus, all of that kind of stuff. I found out about the history of EKU, and not too long ago, it was at that time, it was like 7, 8 years ago, they had just won a national championship, so they were still fresh in the minds of everybody. They were the 1AA powerhouse, and Coach Kidd offered me a scholarship on the spot. I didn't even know what was happening. I didn't like it. Didn't really hit me until I'm sitting in his office, and he was like, "Well, we'd like to offer you a scholarship." I was like, really, like a full one? Like I didn't know. So, that's my Roy Kidd story. But everything he did for me. Um, if you a coach, they teach you how to be men when you ain't with your father. And as much as my dad was in my life, and my mom and my sisters, when you go away for college, that's a whole new experience. And I try to tell kids all the time, especially our kids, black kids, if you get an opportunity to go away, go. Take that opportunity to find out about yourself, to find out how you deal with other people and other situations from other cultures, other colors, other backgrounds. All like I played football with people who had never seen black folks before, because we was in Kentucky. So I met folks that had never been around black folks before, and you would have some of them same people. Um, you had guys, that just experiencing other cultures and other people, other races for the very first time. Down in Kentucky, you can drive down a street and you can see a driveway and look down the driveway and not see a house because it's back in the woods somewhere. Like a lot of that stuff that you would see on Dukes of Hazard and all of that kind of stuff, real places. Hazard County, Kentucky is a real place. So, saying all that to say, Kentucky was a beautiful experience for me. I love it to this day. I don't get a chance to go back much because it's always in my busy season, the football season. So I really never had an opportunity to go back for homecoming and see the step shows and all that kind of stuff because I'm an alpha. Pledged to EKU Spring '89, but I don't. That just doesn't fit my schedule. The last time I was back in Richmond was in 2008 when I got inducted into the EKU Hall of Fame. And I still keep in touch with people, but that's the last real time uh, I've had a chance to get back. But just hearing about Coach Kidd passing away today, like it brought a tear to my eye. I ain't gonna lie, because that man, and I said it, there is no me without you. Coach Kidd was my coach, and I love him. That man molded men. Straight up. Straight up. There's not too many coaches like that type anymore. You still got, like I would say, like Nick Saban. And I'm saying that not because of his status, but because he's been at the same place for a long time now. And stuff like that matters. Because he's in the community and he's doing a lot of things. And, so big shout out to Coach Kidd, man. I love you. We will miss you. Your legacy is legion, my friend. There are thousands upon thousands of people who love you, who you left a legacy to, and we remember you. So we appreciate you. But back to the business of the NFL. Um, Let me see who's on there. Oh, I see somebody on there. Who is this? That's country. Let me get somebody on. Hold on. There we go. Who was that on the mic? You listening? Or do you have your mic on? What's going on, dude?
Oh man, another day, another dollar, man. How you doing?
I'm good, man. I got you on the mic, so I don't know if you watch me on YouTube, but they can hear you.
Okay, awesome.
So what's going on, man? Appreciate you for joining me, man. I know this was late notice, but I figured out I would go later. Um,
It's funny you say something about dads and role models and stuff. I was on the phone with my father and I told him, I was like, oh, let me jump on the podcast. I forgot I already told him I was going to try to make sure I stay consistent. So that's something my father's always about, being consistent. So
yeah, man. I tell you what, man. If you if you are a coach or you dealing with kids in any kind of way, man, you have no choice but to be father figures to them kids, man. So I coached little league for 9 years, and I until finally I had to stop because my, my wife was getting aggravated because all the parents was acting some kind of way. So she was like, "It's time to go." And actually, the guy I was coaching with, he stepped away so he can start watching his sons in high school. And as a matter of fact, his oldest son, one of the ones that I coached the most, is now the starting quarterback at University of Kentucky. He's taken over where Will Levis left. His name's Devin Leary. So
oh man,
you'll be hearing about him. Hopefully, he'll stay healthy and put some numbers up, and we'll be seeing him on Sundays.
oh man, that's awesome, man.
So so that's some good stuff, man. But uh, what did you think of the games this week?
Oh man, I feel like overall, I mean, I was at SoFi, so I mean, for me personally, I was happy they had a run game, so I was happy with the Chargers about that. Some things on defense, I think, a little off. Uh, the Jets game, oh man, Aaron Rodgers going down,
That was bad.
that,
That was
yeah,
that was tough to watch.
yeah, that was, I think that was a tough one for the whole NFL, just due to the fact that everybody really had high hopes for the Jets this year.
Right.
So let's
Jets
see.
defense
I
looked
mean, pretty
good
much
though.
yeah, yep, definitely. Other than that, I mean, there was some kind of games that kind of shocked me, like the Rams game. That one shocked me. I mean, I didn't expect the Cowboys to just blow the Giants out like that. I thought they would at least put some points up, or it would have been some kind of, you
Yeah.
know,
Whoever
with
is
that defense.
whoever is Daniel Jones' agents, I know they high fiving because they just fleeced New York out of 40 million a year.
Man, I'm like, oh man,
He was
Saquon
terrible.
probably mad.
He
I
was
know
terrible.
Saquon's probably mad.
I know he is. I know he is, man. But you know what was funny? I was on another channel. I don't know if you were on that a night. Were you on the channel early tonight when I was on?
No, not tonight.
We
I
we
don't
were
think so.
we were talking about that. It was mostly Eagles fans, and it was a
Hmm.
couple of I want to say Colts fans and a couple of Cowboys fans. And of course, Eagles fans was getting on like we don't want no Cowboys talking. I was like, nah. I was like, you can't do that. I said because if the Eagles defense had played like the Cowboys defense, we would be talking smack too. And you know what? The Cowboys defense earned it because them jokers was flying around, creating turnovers, and just like us, the Cowboys offense was just okay. They weren't bad. They weren't great either. They were just okay. That defense took over that game. They had like what 3 turnovers or something like that. So I was like, let them Cowboys fans talk. They talk. Because if it was us, we would do the same thing. And you know what? They came out the gate Our defense was good. Our offense was lackluster at best, but the Eagles' defense was good. The Dallas defense was dominant, and that's the difference. They were dominant. So we'll see if they can keep that up going forward. But just, I don't want to put too much on just one game. But uh, Dallas came out, hard. The Jets defense looks really good. I didn't expect that to happen at all. But the Jets defense looked very good. That kid Whitehead with 3 picks. Hey Vicky, yes, I see you in the chat. I appreciate you. Appreciate the sub. Thank you very much. I just reached 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. So
Congratulations.
thank you, man. I ain't even really had a chance to celebrate yet because I got so much stuff going on. I got a family wedding we preparing for this weekend. Then I got to fly out of town. So it's a lot of stuff going on. I ain't even really had a chance to break it down. So still try. I still got to reach that second threshold for YouTube. I got to reach the what is it, like the 4,000 watch hours or whatever.
Oh
So
man, you're gonna be good for that, man. That's nothing.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
football. It's football talk. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Football and family, man.
And we
That's all
just
good.
getting started too, and the season just getting started, so it's gonna ramp up. But to be honest with you, that's why I'm just doing my research and trying to figure out the best way to do the YouTube thing. A lot of people say like doing live streams like this is the best way to do it.
Hey, this was a great idea. I was like, oh yeah, he's on it already. I was
Yep.
like,
So I'm trying it. Vicky S, thank you for the congrats. I appreciate it. I'm still trying to grow. The next goal got to 1,000. The next goal is to get to 2,000, and every goal you just double it. So
facts.
but that's what I'm trying to do, man. And but you're right, man. The with the season just starting, it's gonna be a lot of conversation going on, a lot of good conversations, and we're still in the neophyte stage because there's so many things that can happen. Uh, the people in Philly here are going nuts. we so over the top sometimes it's not even funny, but it's like they were so unhappy with the offensive performance, and then you got people going over the top, like Dan Cilio talking about Jalen Hurts is just another wildcat quarterback, and he still can't read a defense, and it's like, man, listen, you can't erase a whole season's worth of progress because he had a subpar game. It don't work that way. So, but the you let me know what you think. The way we came out yesterday or this weekend, that is the first 2 games are now a lot of teams preseason because they
Facts.
don't do nothing.
Yeah, because the Chargers they didn't play any starters. Basically, I guess like 90. Well, yeah, they really didn't even start anybody during the preseason or played anybody from the starting roster really.
Right.
So
So, and
and they were not the only team.
yeah, exactly. And I'm old school, man, because I played when I played with like Seth Joyner and Byron Evans, and you know I played with some hard hitters, Andre Waters, Wes Hopkins. Them guys will knock your head off. And when we went to camp, rookies had to bang. You had to stick your neck in there in 11 on 11, and you knew you was gonna take some knocks because that's how you made the team. That's how I made the team. You had to go. You had to make it through preseason healthy, and then for me, we played the Falcons in a preseason game, and I had like 12 carries, 70 yards, and 2 touchdowns. And that performance got me a roster spot. And we had two. It was 2 free agent running backs, and we both made the team. That don't never happen. But when you had a good preseason, you had a good preseason. But these dudes now, I call them two-a-days. I don't even call them two-a-days because they don't. First of all, they don't have two-a-day practices no more, and I don't know about what they do in San Diego, but the practice schedule is so quick. But everybody talks about you're always moving, you always get something done. But it's like you got to learn how to hit. And
Oh yeah, the Inglewood They the Inglewood Chargers.
It's like they were talking about who am I trying to say? Oh, Patrick Mahomes, because Andy Reid played him a lot in a preseason game, and I was like, yes, everybody's scared to death that something might happen, but you need them reps. I don't care what anybody say. If you a starter in this league, you need those reps because,
Got to build that stamina up.
well, there is nothing like game speed, and I don't think people really appreciate that enough. Game speed is a whole different animal altogether. Totally different altogether. And we looked like we were rusty and trying to shake it off. And nowadays what they doing is you got to be ready to go right off the bat. So you need those reps early. You really need those preseason games at least to get a couple series in just to get get your motor running. But Jalen Hurts did not touch the field in preseason. I'm like, that's bad for business. But you don't want to. The flip side of that is you don't want to get nobody hurt. But you can't really worry about that because Aaron Rodgers didn't do much, and it only took him 4 plays. He out.
Yep. They said that he had pulled something. I've heard a couple people say he pulled something during practice, and he was kind of,
Yeah, but you can look at the replay and see how his foot was. Normally, your foot gets caught and your ankle bends at a crazy way, but in his situation, his toes got caught in the turf. That's that, and it is almost as like you pushing off your with the balls of your feet, but your toes never leave the ground, so your feet keeps moving, and it just ended up popping his Achilles. But he didn't. If you look at the play, he wasn't really doing anything out of the ordinary. That's just the way his legs twisted and contorted, and that's what happened.
I had a question for you. Did you ever, any time period in your, professional career, or even in college, did you really ever play on turf?
Yes.
I know that's a big thing that people really complain. I've heard a lot of complaints about that, about the turf versus,
Yeah,
regular grass field.
there was a couple teams that we played. Well, heck, my rookie year, I played at the Vet, dude. I played at Veteran Stadium in Philadelphia. That turf was notoriously bad. But in college, there was a couple places. There was a lot of places that had turf, and you got to remember, I played in the late '80s, early '90s. I played from '89 to '93 in college, so they didn't have all of this new uh, artificial turf with the beads on the bottom, and they didn't have all that type of technology. All they had was basically carpet with painted line. And then they had it, back then the technology was they had that soft padding underneath the turf so it would absorb the blows a little bit. But basically you were just running on carpet. So it wasn't like the stuff like they have now, but even the stuff they have now, I still say every NFL team should have grass. Period.
That's how I feel about it too. I've only played turf like after out of school and stuff, and like pickup games. And man, when that sun is hitting that's I don't know, man. I don't even know how people can survive playing on that, on a consistent basis.
Yeah, because it's come a long way for sure, but there's nothing like grass, man. Plain and simple. And I don't understand. Well, no, let me say it. I do understand why the NFL doesn't want to do that. Number one, they can't make teams do it. Um, if there's any team that actually got it right, in my opinion, is Arizona. I don't know if you've ever seen the
how they roll it out.
yeah, that's it.
It's another team that has the rollout, isn't it? I think
That's ingenious. But I said that's ingenious how they do that. But the other part about that is that's really only going to work for West Coast teams that get sun most of the year. If you're on the East Coast, you got to think of something different because we got to deal with winters up here.
I know the Panthers is grass.
Yeah,
I think a lot of their games, but they got the weather out there. They get rain pretty consistently.
yeah, yeah.
And they get sun. They might get a little cloudy, but they get a little variance. But I guess I don't know, man. I really don't like the turf, me personally. But I guess
No.
it's cost effective, and when it comes to the dollar sign,
And
it makes the most sense for the owners and the
that's exactly what it
organization.
comes down to. It's a dollars and cents thing. It's a lot cheaper to maintain turf than it is to maintain grass because you got to feed the grass, water the grass. You ain't got to do none of that with turf, so you ain't got to worry about the water bill. You don't have to worry about paying landscaping fees. None of that
Oh
kind of
man,
stuff.
that might go with the eco-friendly situation as well, with the green kind of era of time that we're in now too. So that
You would
probably would add into that.
you would think so. I'm surprised that the NFL hasn't don't have like solar powered lawnmowers or something like that because it's too easy to do that type of stuff now. The technology is way it's out there. So, burning gas, for lawnmowers and stuff like that isn't as much of a problem as it used to be. But at the end of the day, if the NFL really wanted to do something about it, they could. They just don't because
Yeah, they
it's
would have to
they're not
implement
gonna.
something.
I mean, if I mean, let's be realistic. Let's keep it 100. If you own a stadium, ain't can't nobody tell you what to do in your house. Literally.
And that's why I would say keep it 1,000 out, man.
Yeah.
Just
So but it stuff like that only happens when I bet you the Jets will be thinking about grass. So they got. I wonder if Aaron Rodgers will rehab or retire.
to me personally, I mean, I would feel like he would be done, but that type of person and who he is, and the way that he reacts and talks, and just his stature, just how he is, I feel like he's gonna try to make a comeback
Well,
because he got 2 years on the deal, I think. So unless
yeah,
the
and I
Jets don't
think
want to pull
I
him,
think his money is backloaded. I'm trying to
yeah.
look
So
up his
he definitely,
contract right now. Hold on. Rodgers. He agreed to a 3-year, $150.8 million deal. That's in 22. No. Rogers agreed to restructure contract in July that includes 75 million guaranteed over the 23 and 24 seasons. So
yeah.
whatever
So
he
he does have one more year come on his
right.
contract.
So I think he's got 40 million or more coming to him next year. So it would make sense for him to try to come back. But, that can be they could easily rewrite that contract as well. If he decides he doesn't want to do it, they can do it because I'm like first thing I thought about too was is he gonna give Brandon Graham a call? Because Brandon Graham is 31 and he popped his Achilles last year. He was actually cheated out of the comeback player of the year award last year. They gave it to Geno Smith, and Geno Smith wasn't even injured. So
Yeah, they just gave it to him because he's been playing so many years with no consistent game or no kind of winning record with basically any team he's been with.
exactly, but Brandon Graham got hurt. He was out for the year, and he came back and still had what 9 sacks. So, and Brandon Graham is how old is Brandon? Brandon Graham is 35. So he popped his Achilles when he was 33. So he was already a veteran, and he came back and got like 8 9 sacks last year at his age. So uh, Philadelphia's got a very small window now because Brandon Graham's probably going to retire. Jason Kelsey's probably going to retire. Lane Johnson might retire. So we losing like 3 captains on our team probably next year. So, not so worried about our defense, but we got to replace them people on offense. Lane Johnson and Jason Kelsey are, they tops in the league at their position. Jason's considered one of the best centers. But both Jason and Lane Johnson are both considered, they're going to be Hall of Famers. And you have to replace that production. That might be a tall task. So this is the year that they're gonna have to do it. So this Thursday against the Vikings, they better do something. Rob Povia, what's going on, dude? I see you. I see you, Rob. Rob, you can jump in my
I'm trying to think what I guess I got, you know what, one player I do have on the Eagles, I got look for defensive player of the year, so I got one player on there. That's what I put, but I'm trying to think. Defensively, the Eagles. I got the Eagles defense, special teams on my all my fantasy teams. So
right.
I was pretty confident about the defense. I just think y'all. That with the NFC and how it is, like I know this week one, a lot of the AFC teams, took their first loss for this season, but I feel like in the next couple of weeks things will start changing a little bit. Teams will start showing their true colors. I feel like this first week was kind of overall trying to see what people are really doing, and there's a lot of different staff and new players, and everybody got to get worked into the system and get their mojo to start really showing out.
Yeah, I was in a conversation today about somebody made the comment about nobody's going to come out and show their whole playbook and all that kind of stuff. And my response was no team is going to throw their whole playbook in a game. And I explained that when teams get ready to play, they game plan for a specific team or a specific player. They don't just open up the playbook and throw all their best plays. It never works like that. You're looking for a specific advantage against a team or a player. If you play the Miami Dolphins, you better game plan Tyreek Hill because you got to find a way to slow him down. You're not going to stop him, but you got to find a way to slow him down. So that's not something that teams do. They don't throw the whole kitchen sink at you the first game. That just doesn't make sense. You still got to watch tape, and the longer the season goes on, the more tape you get. Now you start seeing tendencies and repeat performances and repeat behavior. That's how you develop a game plan. That's why in the first 4 or 5 games, anything can happen. After that, everybody's got enough film on you to really understand. That's where analytics and stuff like that come into play. So Rob Povia says, was the Cowboys win a reflection of how good they are or how bad the Giants are? A little bit of both, Rob. A little bit of both. We were talking earlier. The Cowboys, if you a Cowboys fan, talk your talk. I ain't mad at you. I ain't mad at you. Because if it had been the Eagles that played like that, I would have talked that talk too. So it is a little bit of the Giants being that bad, but the Dallas defense was all over the place. They caused 3 turnovers, I believe. So I didn't really see anything. You didn't really.
With the Cowboys defense did their thing, and like you said, with the Cowboys offense, they weren't like nothing too extravagant. They just played the game and did what they needed to do for the most part. So and the Giants just couldn't get nothing going. And I think giving all that money, like you were talking about with Daniel Jones, I think that was as of right now, to me it seemed like it might have been a little bit of waste of money, but
yeah, the
NFC East is a tough spot to be in division wise. I know I hear a lot of people always bringing up the fact that I think the last 3 years nobody's won twice, for the division or whatever. The last 4 years
since 2005. That's the last time. That's the last time we had a repeat NFC champion. And guess what? It might be a different one this year if we keep playing. If we do what we did on offense next week, the people in Philly gonna lose their stuff because our offense looked pedestrian at best. So I'm looking up the stats from the Cowboys game. See, Dak Prescott, he was 13 for 24 for 143 yards, no touchdowns. He ain't have the Dallas offense didn't really do much. Tony Pollard had 70 yards. Tony Pollard was their best player. They had over 100 yards rushing between Tony Pollard, Rico Dowdle, and Cavante Turpin. Deuce Vaughn had 6 carries for 8 yards, and Dak Prescott scrambled one time for 6. So they didn't. C.D. Lamb went off. He had 4 catches for 77 yards, no touchdowns. Their defense, Tony Pollard had 2 touchdowns, and Cavante Turpin had 1. So all of their touchdowns was on the ground. Dak Prescott didn't really do anything. So
And the Giants lost the fumble, 2 interceptions and a fumble.
yeah, because they hit on that one play. Um, they cracked
Yeah,
the running back.
The
No,
Giants won the
Saquon.
time of possession. The
Yeah,
Giants won the time of possession, which is pretty wild. I guess they just fizzled out, or I think they didn't even get past it. I think they only had one good drive. Yeah, I was talking about this earlier. I think they had like one good drive and it fizzled out. I think that's when they had the turnover,
right.
and after that it was just downhill for them.
Yeah, it was like their Dallas defense dominated. They dominated. So, and that's what you want to see because the offense is going to catch up. So, Rob, if you're still listening, it's a little bit of both. The Giants are bad, but the Dallas defense, at least for right now, they played out of their minds. So, really, the answer to your question is really going to show itself by week 3 or 4. If the Cowboys defense is still doing the same thing and holding teams under 10 points, well, then there's the answer to your question. Dallas defense is for real. Or is somebody going to figure them out? And the same thing with the offense. Is the offense really didn't do anything, so that's a wait and see. But the Eagles are in the same boat. Our offense didn't do diddly squat, and we got the Vikings coming in. So the our offense, Jalen Hurts better pick it up because Kirk Cousins is going to throw the ball all over the place. Even when they lose, he still manages to, throw for a lot of yards. So, and I said this earlier, don't think you already know that Justin Jefferson is trying to get revenge from last year because we held him to like 31 yards or something last year. He was big play Slay shut him down, and he ain't trying to let that happen again. So
I think Jair Alexander shut him down too last year. I don't even think he had one reception.
yep. So it'll be interesting to see. I usually I reserve any opinions on the team, like real opinions, until at least going into week 4. Because the first 2 games are throwaway games. Yes, you're going to have some people that come out and they look like all world. But you don't have tape on all of the teams, so everybody's trying to fill themselves out. Week 3 going into week 4, everybody's got tape on everybody. And you can formulate a good game plan and kind of figure out what you got and what you don't have. And then teams figure out how to go forward. A good example. Now the Jets know they don't have Aaron Rodgers, so Zach Wilson has got to earn that number 1 pick again. Because the Jets were in a perfect situation. All of the crap that they had last year with Zach Wilson. But at the end of the day, they ain't going to cut him because they drafted him number 1. They're not giving up on all of that money. So he was in the perfect situation because now you still a young quarterback. You already took your lumps in that first season. So now you get to sit underneath a master, a Hall of Fame quarterback and just watch and learn. So, Vicky S., who scored on the Ravens offense? What was Lamar's stats? Let me look it up.
The Ravens Texans game, player stats. Lamar Jackson, 17 for 22, 169 yards, one
Ew.
interception.
Ew.
Yeah, I think they they scored, so it was 7-6 at halftime, and then the second half they scored 18. And I think their running back got yeah, I think a running back got injured as well. Gus was it? No, J.K. Dobbins. I
Dobbins,
think he's
yeah, I remember that. Dobbins
he's
got hurt.
yeah. So he's out. I know they got Melvin Gordon on their rosters, so I think they're gonna put him up as the third running back, and then probably have Edwards starting, and then having Justice Hill and Melvin Gordon behind them.
Right. So what in the world?
They only, I mean, the Texans had more passing yards, less rushing yards. Total yardage, the Texans actually won the total yardage game. Same amount of first downs.
Yep.
I mean, third down efficiency was almost about the same. It looks like Texans went for it a lot on fourth down.
Yeah, man. And look, I'm looking. C.J. Stroud had 44 pass attempts. Good Lord. 28 for 44. For 242. That's not bad, but that's a lot of pass attempts. That's a lot of pass attempts. And Lamar, let me see. Odell had 2 for 37, so he only got. Odell only had 3 targets. Zay Flowers had 10. He had 10 targets and they only got 78 yards. You would think he would get more than that, but still 9 for 78. That's a good day. And then it just
Zay Flowers.
Yeah, it just dropped off from there.
That was one player that a lot of the Charger fans really wanted him.
Yeah.
Over. They had a lot of the fans. I would say 50-50 with Quentin Johnston, but most of the other half is kind of like, they're happy with it now. They're like, okay, we'll see what happens.
And also, look, man, listen, I love Lamar, but he put the ball on the ground. Lamar putting the ball on the ground. He fumbled twice and lost one. You cannot put the ball on the ground. You know who else doing that now too? Is
Josh Allen.
Josh Allen.
I was just looking at a stat that he has like the most turnovers, like interceptions and fumbles since last year or something like that. Altogether, total amount.
Josh Allen. Like I used to make this argument last year because back when people didn't want to consider Jalen Hurts one of the top quarterbacks, and they would always lump Josh Allen as one of the elites, and I was like, do y'all remember Josh Allen's first 2 years in Buffalo? They wanted to run him out of town because they said that man couldn't hit a mirror in a bathroom. He was terrible. They thought they messed up their pick, and it took him his third and his fourth year to really get his traction and get going. But now, in my opinion, his problem is he way too daggone reckless. He way too reckless, and the law of averages is going to catch up with him. And he going to try to jump over somebody at the wrong time, and he either going to come down wrong, come down on somebody's ankle, foot, twist his knee, something goofy like that, because that dude, he loves jumping in the air.
Yeah, he did that in this game. I seen him. He just flung his stuff. I'm like, man,
he loved jumping in the air, and I don't understand that.
I don't even think it was for a first down or anything. I think he just did it. Like it was
he
like
just did it.
Like Cam Newton Superman dive in the end zone or none of that. It was just
he just did it, and he, like I said, the law of averages is gonna catch him, just like same thing that happened to Jalen Hurts last year in Chicago. And Jalen Hurts is a thoughtful runner, meaning that he thinks about what he's gonna do. He ain't trying to take the hit. He's trying to get out of bounds. But the law of averages says eventually somebody gonna get their hands on you, and they gonna put you down, and you gonna catch a hit from a linebacker or a defensive tackle or something like that, and you gonna have 300 something odd pounds on top of your shoulder or on your chest or something like that, and that's how people get hurt. That's exactly how people get hurt. You look at that play where Jalen Hurts fumbled. He had already gained like 11 yards. He had the first down. And that DB put a hit on him and just hit him at the right place at the right time. And that ball shot out of there. And he had a good, secure grip on the ball. It wasn't like he was holding the ball loose. The dude just put his helmet in the exact right place. And that ball shot up out of there. And wasn't nothing he could have done different. That wasn't like the Super Bowl. The Super Bowl, he just fumbled. He was dropping back the pass. And he just got careless with the ball. This one, that dude just put a lick on him and just put his helmet on that ball, and that's just what happens. That's just what happens. So, um, guys got to be careful, man. They got to be careful. So, I don't know what's going on with my daggone Bengals. Yes, they are.
Um,
They, I,
you know what?
I call them
I
my
got
Bengals
word.
because I'm from born and raised in Cincinnati. So they are still my Bengals. But listen, before we get too hyped on Deshaun Watson, he looked relatively good. He rushed for 45 yards, 5 for 45, and he only threw for 154 yards, 16 for 29. But he's roughly a little over 50%. But their defense is good. He took the leap year. That's funny. Um, and let me tell you something. I got to give props to Miles Garrett. Did you see did you see the stats or the highlights from the game?
I seen that crossover
The
move they played.
crossover,
That I seen that all day today. I said, wow,
the
they.
cross. Listen, as long as I've been watching football,
It's gonna be either Hassan Reddick or Miles Garrett, Defensive Player of the Year, man.
listen, I there's not too many things I can say that I've never seen watching football. I've never seen that before. Never seen that before. Where he's doing that crossover and the center and the guard don't know which way he's going, and he's standing up. Now watch, that's gonna catch on. NFL is a copycat league, so if he did it and he can be successful at it, I guarantee you somebody else gonna try. Especially if you get results like he got results. Now, granted, everybody is not Miles Garrett, far from it, but that I'd never seen that before in a pro game. Normally, if a kid tried to do that in college, he'd probably get kicked off the team. So Miles Garrett, Browns defense are bringing it. Chubb still got 106 yards, almost 6 yards per carry. So now you got a good quarterback, you got a good running back, and you got a good defense. The Browns are for real. The Browns are for real. I don't know what the Bengals are doing. It looks like they're having uh, offensive line problems again. I don't know what it is that the Cincinnati Bengals are snake bitten with offensive linemen because they can't block for Joe Burrow to save their life.
I think the Bengals got rid of one of the linemen already. Collins, they used to play for the. I think that was the Bengals.
I don't know, but they better do something because that was not good.
Yeah, he got cut. The offensive tackle,
Okay, that's it.
Lyle Collins. I
That's
think he played with the. I think he was the with the Cowboys. Yeah,
right,
yeah, yeah.
right. I know that sounded familiar.
That's
So,
crazy. After week one, getting cut like that, veteran, man.
well, look at the Eagles just re-signed uh, Nick Moreau. We brought in Moreau to be one of our starting linebackers. They ended up cutting him, but because of the injuries, we just brought him back, put him on practice squad, uh, and or did they move him up? But he'll probably end up playing this week because that's one of our depth at linebacker is very suspect right now. So we trying to bring people off the streets because we got to bolster our ranks. We are hurting in that situation, and as you see on the screen, uh, Brian Johnson's catching heat because Dallas Goddard's one of the best tight ends in the league, and he got like 3 targets the whole game, and it's like you can't do that. And the whole thing with DeAndre Swift, he got one carry and one pass, and that was it. And I don't understand. Even though I'm a big proponent of having a bell cow back, just we should have one back. That's the back that you're gonna give 20 to 25 carries to every game. You can still spread the wealth a little bit because I like Kenny Gainwell and I don't mind him being the starter. But when you got weapons like that, when you got DeAndre Swift, you got to use them. That's why you brought him. So the fact that they left him on the bench to me is stupid. If you got the chess pieces on the board, make the move. You got the queens. That's the most powerful piece. You got to move it. And for the
Could it
Eagles not to do that, they wasting the talent. They not. I don't know what the
could it be
reasoning is.
possibly just his injury? He's been
Nah,
injured
nah,
every year that he's been in the NFL. So maybe I mean that's the only thing I could think. Other than
nah.
that,
He
there's
had a
really
good camp. He had a very good camp. That's why it doesn't make any sense. That's why the people in Philadelphia, we got the big question marks. It feel like I don't know if you a gamer, but if you ever played Metal Gear Solid, when Solid Snake was sneaking in the box and he would alert the guards and the guards would have the big question mark over their head.
yeah.
That's all of Philly right now. You hear that
That's
little you hear
one
that
of the
little
best
alert
games on
song and the question
PlayStation.
mark pops up and we think like Brian Johnson, what are you doing? Because Brian Johnson is on the hot seat. He's a new coordinator. He's a
And
new
he already
coordinator.
on the hot. He already on the hot seat already, huh?
Well, at least he is here in Philly. I'm a little bit more understanding because I understand how this works. He ain't going nowhere unless he just
Yeah.
does something stupid. Um, you know, unless he does something like Michigan State Mel Tucker's type stupid. But he ain't going nowhere.
That's crazy. Everybody's saying Brandon Staley on the hot seat, head coach for the Chargers.
He might be. He might be.
Yeah.
It all depends on how good you can have a good season, but if you don't make it to the playoffs, or you get, I mean, look at the Sixers. All of the stuff we did. I hate to switch sports like that and pull the emergency break, but the six like now Sixers getting bounced in the second round 3 years in a row. So now it doesn't matter what they do in the regular season. The only thing people gonna worry about is when they if they make it to the playoffs. And it's the same thing right now with the Eagles because we on the Super Bowl hangover. We on paper we got a good team. So we listening to all the hype and the rankings and all that kind of stuff, all the stuff that don't matter. That's what Eagles fans get caught up into. And I don't like I hate it, but I understand what fandom is, so it is what it is. But I don't care if you got Jalen Hurts ranked third or if you got him ranked 33rd. It doesn't matter. Because when you play the game, that's the only thing that matters. When you play the game, is he still throwing the ball with accuracy? Is he still seeing the field right? Um, and is he still getting rid of the ball on time? And that has nothing to do with where Skip Bayless ranked him or Colin Cowherd. None of that kind of stuff matters. But Philly fans, they get crazy about that stuff.
No, I know some Philly fans. One of my best friends from college, he a Philly fan.
Yeah,
And
they
I
get
know how it can get. I know it can get a little wild.
a little.
I
So
mean, y'all. I mean, I still feel like y'all are probably the top team in the NFC outside of. I mean, the Niners. I don't really see nobody else make it. I mean, I know some people are hyped on the Lions and hyped on the Commanders, hyped with the Cowboys and stuff like that. But
Commanders
that
look
stuff
pretty
most of the
good.
time, sometimes that fizzles out towards the end of the season, going into the playoffs, and Dak starts throwing those interceptions in the game, late in the game, or
Right.
making bad decisions, or they blame it on Kellen Moore, or they blame it on somebody else. I mean, I don't trust Sam Howell, so I don't, I heard some things from some Washington fans saying like his progression and like he just ran out the pocket a couple times when it wasn't necessary, and so I'm not that high on him as well. And then with the Niners, Brock Purdy got injured last year in the playoffs, and I mean, I got to see him do it for this whole year for me to believe. But the Niners got a strong defense.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, they do. Imani Bentley says Vikings 10, Eagles 56. Imani, uh, or E-Money, I'm sorry. I hope you are correct. I would love to see 56-10, but we shall see. But back to the Niners. Yes, the Niners defense. looks very good. Brock Purdy looks very good. I still don't think he's been tested yet because I still think he still does a little bit too much dinking and dunking. But when you can dink and dunk to Debo and and uh, and CMC, go with what works. I think CMC is going to end up being the best running back in the league this year. He's going to take that title from Nick Chubbs because he was, oh my God, he was ridiculous the other night. So I still want to see how Purdy responds when somebody comes at his arm. I haven't seen that yet. I'm gonna see what his mental capacity is. Vicky says Vikings 27, Eagles 24. Um, Vicky, I'm kind of leaning that way that the Eagles might lose this week because I just don't. I don't know. Uh, Kirk Cousins throwing the ball all over the place, and we couldn't execute anything. And
What
everybody's
did
going to do that mush rush against the Eagles now because
what,
that's
did- what
how.
did y'all average? What did the Eagles average in last year on points? Like high twenties,
Uh,
or
I can't even remember. I
it
can't even
was? I
remember.
think
It
it
was
was.
up.
I know.
I think I want to say it was 24 points.
I think the Vikings they score a lot. It's just they ain't got no defense, man.
Well, you're right, but again, because it's so early in the season, anything can happen. Anything can happen. Everybody knows right now the Eagles have soft linebackers because we don't have no linebackers. We're on slim pickings with linebackers. So guess where they're going to attack us? The middle of the field.
You can always trade the Chargers, man. We'll give you a linebacker. Just give you your best D tackle. We'll be happy.
If you remember, we already did that because we got Kaiser White last year.
Oh yeah, I forgot y'all had. Oh yeah.
Yeah,
We did. What did we? No, I think y'all just gave us draft pick
yeah, I think we did, but I like Kaiser White last year. I
because
thought he played good
we
for
didn't
us
want to.
last year.
They didn't want to pay the contract. It was him and the Uso. They didn't want to pay their. They should have paid those contracts. And
They should have, just like we should have
they're
paid T.J. Edwards.
they're younger. It just like even now, I feel like with the defensive scheme, I think it's going to end up being a long term effect on the linebackers that we have. It ain't going to last too long. I don't know. I'm not confident in it at all.
You're probably right, but like they say, that's why you play the
Yeah,
game.
Mac lined up on Tyreek Hill. I don't know what's going on. Oh man, that's oh my goodness. But like you were saying about the game, the Vikings Eagles game, I like you said, it's early in the season, so anything these first 4 or 5 games, it's gonna be some weird stuff happening.
For sure.
I know I went through like teams that we were thinking about gonna be undefeated, so far. Like I think we had Jets losing. What was another team? Rams are playing the Niners, so one of them is not gonna. I'm not too. The Rams had a good game, but I don't know how long that's gonna last.
Nah,
And
I don't see the Rams beating the Niners. The Titans. Vic, you want to know about the Titans game? What's his thoughts? What was
oh,
Tannehill's stat like? Tannehill was garbage last week, wasn't he?
well, with the Chargers playing the Titans, I feel like our main objective is going to be run game. If we held Derrick Henry to under, I think it was like under 115 last year. So, but they didn't have anybody on defense. So
Right.
I had us losing that game. I actually had us winning the Dolphins game and losing the Titans game, and then week 3 winning against the was it winning against the Vikings or losing against the Vikings? I think I had us winning against the Vikings and then winning against the Raiders and then losing against the Cowboys. So I was already wrong week 1. So I can't trust myself with my picks right now. So
Tannehill last week was 16 for 34 for 198 yards and 3 interceptions. He was hot garbage. Anytime you throw 3 picks, him and Josh Allen need to get together and go bowling. Derrick Henry, 15 for 63. Still got a 4.2 yards average. Traylon Burks. DeAndre Hopkins, 7 for 65. That's solid. Nick Westbrook, a Akine, 4 for 58. Derrick Henry had 2 catches for 56. Traylon Burks only had 2 for 18. It's a shame they traded Traylon Burks for AJ Brown.
The owners had told the manager to pay AJ Brown whatever he wanted, and they ended up trading him. That's crazy.
And they also fired him too, didn't
Yep,
they?
he learned his lesson.
Yeah, but Tannehill was hot garbage. Sorry, Vicky. Hope he
They
wasn't
got
on your
Will
fantasy
Levis,
team.
Malik Willis, and mayonnaise coffee. Will Levis. I ain't never know nobody put no kind of mayo or any Miracle Whip or whatever in coffee. I thought that was
Man.
interesting.
Yeah, he can keep it. So glad he got his NIL deal with Miracle Whip or whatever. Keep that to yourself. that was horrible. Uh, Slashing Santa 2023. What's going on, brother? Jump in Twitter Spaces if you want to.
Derek Carr was 23 for 33, 305.
Derek Carr had a solid game.
Through one pick.
Derek Carr got a chip on his shoulder right now. So he is itching to prove that he can play. He is itching to do that. Because they flamed out. He flamed out in Vegas, and it just didn't. Vegas is snake bitten.
Derrick Henry had 56 yards receiving.
Yeah, he did. Yep.
Trying to maybe a little screen, a little short little pass in the flat.
Yeah, probably had a broke a long one.
That's gonna be a tough game for the Chargers because our passing defense is not looking that hot. We did okay with the run D, which is what we've been failures in the last I feel like 1,000 years, but it's just been so long. But I feel like I don't know. I still got us losing that game. It's away. Tennessee fans hyped probably for the game. Beginning of the season. So,
hey Dennis, I see you, bro. I appreciate you. I've been keeping track with your tailgate stuff. I ain't gonna be able to make it. I'm getting ready for a wedding this week. My grandson getting married, so we've been dealing with that, and then I'll be out of town next week. So I'm not even gonna have a show tomorrow. So there's no Pro Fan Talk show, not tomorrow, but Thursday. So because I'll be at the wedding rehearsal, I'll still be able to watch the game. So I might do like a late podcast after the game, perhaps another live stream. But I'm not going to be able to do my normal 7 o'clock show because I'll usually look forward to being the pregame show. That's always fun, but not tomorrow. Or not Thursday. There's too much stuff going on. So I'll probably be back not next week, but the following week. So we'll see. Your feelings are crushed. You'll be all right. We'll make something happen. We'll make something happen. So. What else? Who else is who else Jets? Oh, that's the Jets. That's pretty much.
I never thought I'd see 2 running backs in the top 5 for the Chargers, man.
Yeah. What's the other boy's name?
Kelly. Joshua Kelly.
Yep. That's a good problem to have.
Yeah, exactly.
It doesn't work out very well for Austin Eckler, but he got his money now, so he ain't got nothing to worry about.
Yeah. He's kind of a little banged up, so I don't know if he'll be starting. We'll see. Yeah, he got a little banged up. I don't think nothing major. I just think something, pull something or whatever. So I think he should be fine, but they probably won't give him too much of a hard workload this upcoming week. So hopefully Kelly and Spiller and Elijah Dotson can get the ball a couple times. I really want to see Elijah Dotson, man.
Yeah.
He had a couple little highlights in the preseason, so hopefully he's a little space.
Y'all pulled that game out, right?
What, the Dolphins-Chargers game?
Yeah.
No, they lost.
Oh, they lost. I was about to say, I was like, how did Tua throw for 466 and they lose?
Man, we had 234 yards rushing. We had the time of possession.
Oof, good grief.
We were 9 for 15 on third down. We had 11 more plays than them. It was a couple fluke things that happened in the game. Well, not fluke, just bad decisions by players. Like J.C. Jackson got a PI. before the end of the first half. It was barely no time on the clock. Like it wasn't even that. Like they were basically in prevent defense. It was I don't. He had got an interception, so maybe he was just excited and wanted another one. I don't know. It was really dumb play on his part, and that gave the Dolphins extra 3 before the half ended. So, and that 3 points kind of came back and haunted them because they lost by 2. So, and in Herbert's last drive, it was horrific. Like it looked like if the O-line just went on lunch break or something. I don't know. Like they went to go take a nap or what happened. Like the whole D-line was sacking them at the same time. Like I never saw. It was like, oh man,
that's crazy.
Yeah, it just was a bad. It was just like a normal Charger game. You know, don't finish the game out. I mean, that's what it seemed like to me. Like they just didn't want to finish it. So they had their chance. You know, they had the ball last. They could have tried to put 3 on the board to win the game. Cameron Dicker's been almost perfect with kicking field goals. I mean, he had a 50-yarder in the game. So
y'all got Dicker the kicker?
Yep. Yep. Hit the 50-yarder in the game. So I'm proud of him. I think he's going to be hopefully, we've had horrific stuff happen, with
right.
the special teams in history with the Chargers. So hopefully, I don't know, man. I was at the game. I didn't even get in. I was a little occupied. So I had a good time. And, but I ended up buying my ticket. Like I had sold my tickets. I was going to go in and buy the fan, him and his son. I was going to, take him to the store and buy some stuff and surprise him and stuff. But I ended up waiting so late they wouldn't let me in the game, and I was a little upset about it.
Gotcha.
Yeah. But other than that, I mean, I thought it was a lot of fans out there and a lot of Charger fans, which is I'm very excited about to see that the fandom growing. Starting to see the stands, filling up, and we're not looking like an away team at home. So that's one thing. And the run game's looking good, so I can't complain.
Hey, 1 week at a time, man. Hold on. Slash and Santa twin. Y'all leaving Virginia at 5:30 in the morning, and we better be in midnight green or black jerseys. It ain't gonna matter if you get here. They'll probably be. I thought it'll probably be midnight green. I don't think they're going black because usually when they go black, they announce that. But I could be wrong. So we'll see. Y'all making a nice little trek. Hope y'all get a good spot. I hope y'all get a good spot. Cause let me see, what time is the game? Game's at 8:20. If y'all leaving at 5:30, you're in Virginia. What does it take you? 4 hours to get up here? Vicky's a lifelong Dolphin fan. I'm usually in Dolphin spaces on Twitter or some NFL space. Hey, Vicky, I got love for the Dolphins too.
Hey,
like I said,
much respect to the Dolphins. Y'all got the win.
Absolutely. I tell you, I give you some history, Vicky. I played. People forget this. I played with Mark Duper. Mark Duper, his last, I guess, year in the league, he signed with the Eagles. Because I think he was like, he needed a couple 100 yards to break some record or something like that. But yeah, I played with Mark Duper. I actually played with Ron Dickerson Jr. We played in the World League together. Ron Dickerson, his father, was a member of the 1970 undefeated Miami Dolphins team. So I got some ties to the Dolphins too. So, and also I'm good friends with Irvin Fryer. He played with the Dolphins. There you go. So, to have lights and sirens, the benefit of being a fireman, bro. Oh, I get. Use it if you got it, Santa. Use it if you got it. I ain't mad at you. Thank you, Vic. I appreciate that. But man, shoot, this is gonna be a good week this week. Eagles better come out to play. Who do the Cowboys have this week now? Well, hold on for
Cowboys.
We'll get back to the Cowboys. Hold on. Since Vicky is talking about the Dolphins, let's get back to the Dolphins. Who do the Dolphins have in week 2?
Week 2, Dolphins are going to the Patriots. I remember I actually paid my respects to the Dolphin fans because it was like, oh, you're a real one country. actually had some good conversation about the game, about the teams beforehand and afterwards.
Yeah. So
And
so
I think
Tua looked good. Um, but the same way Belichick was prepared for Jalen Hurts, he's gonna have people prepare for Tua. However, I don't care who you are. There's only so much you can do about Tyreek Hill. Period. There's only so much you can do to him. That dude is just that dude. Um, it is what it is. Tyreek Hill is the cheetah, and Waddle's not hurt, is he? Did Waddle get hurt? Because I really didn't hear much from him
no,
last
I
week.
didn't. No, I didn't. No, he didn't get hurt. Not that I know of. No.
No. What did he do last week?
I mean, he did play pretty well. Him and Tyreek Hill did pretty good against the Chargers.
Let me see. What was Waddle's stats? That's what I want to see. Tua's a good quarterback, but at the end of the day, Tua's going to be good until he isn't, and isn't meaning getting hurt. So unfortunately, that is on him now. Tyreek had 11 for 215. Lord have mercy. And Jalen Waddle had 4 for 78. So that's still solid. That's a solid number two right there. So Tyreek Hill had 15 targets. Good grief. Can't nobody stop him though. Can't nobody stop him. Slash and Santa says, I want Sidney Brown to start. That kid is Dawkins and Ed Reed put together. Not yet. I like the way he plays. Uh, he still got a little too much Marcus Epps in him, where he's moving so fast that he's kind of out of control, and he can miss tackles because he leaves his feet early. So he does have some rookie tendencies that the only way you can iron those out is if you play. So, but I do like Sidney Brown. My prediction was that he would be starting before our bye week or after the bye week, somewhere in the middle of the season. Sidney Brown is going to be the starter. So, but Josh Jobe is in there right now. Evans is in there right now. I didn't really expect to see Evans, but I know Josh Jobe, when Bradbury went down, Josh Jobe had a really good camp. So that doesn't surprise me. So um, I want to see Sidney Brown, but I want to see Sidney Brown when he's ready. So give him a little bit. Let's give him another couple weeks to get seasoned and really get into the film study. And when we can, you know, week 4, 5, or 6, we might be able to see something. That would make sense to me, but it's a little bit too early. But you never know. We said the same thing when they put Reed Blankenship in last year, and I'm a Reed Blankenship fan because all he did was show up and play, and nobody expected that out of him. Nobody did. So it could happen. It could definitely happen. So any chance Bradbury clears protocol? I doubt it. I don't know what the thing with protocol is. Is protocol like an assigned number of days now, or like what is the NFL's concussion protocol now? Let me see. NFL concussion protocol. How long do NFL players think? Okay, while there is no set time frame for when players can return from concussion protocol, the medium time is 9 days. Players must pass all 5 phases of concussion protocol and must be cleared by their team's physician, as we as well as an independent neurological consultant. Every team is required to have one. Okay, so he's not. Yeah, but that's in 20. Well, I guess that technically is recent, December 31st, 2022. So 9 days. So he's gonna miss. Um, he's gonna miss the next game. He's gonna miss Thursday. That ain't happening. So they need to sit Covey and activate Penny. I wouldn't be mad at that. Although you gotta admit, Covey did look pretty good. Although I did put a tweet out after I saw that kid run that punt return back for the Jets. I was like, I hope Covey was watching and learning how to set up his blocks. Because the one thing about Covey, and I've seen this before, if you got guys that are fast and they move too fast, they don't give themselves time, and you don't give your your blockers time to get set up. And it seems like he's running into people's backs and just my nickname for Covey was Crash Test Covey because he was always moving too fast. So um, I want to see Rashad Penny. I don't know if Rashad Penny can return punts though. I know he can return kickoffs because Rashad Penny was nasty in college returning kickoffs. But uh, Zacchaeus was probably who I thought was going to return punts. So I don't know if that's going to be a thing, if they're ever going to give him a shot. There's still some things they got to do to play around with the offense and play around with the lineups. So that's still a possibility. So we'll see what's going on with that. In my opinion, Michael Clay is still on the hot seat because I'm still not satisfied with our special teams play, and I don't want to wait until it gets to a point where special teams cost us a game. Um, hey, Slash and Sen, I appreciate that, bro. Thank you. Definitely thank you, man. So it's like, hey, do me a favor. When y'all get set up for your tailgate and everything, send me a shout out. Send a shout out to Pro Fan Talk and like record it on somebody's phone or something and send it to me. I'll make sure I get it on the podcast and people see and we can get people pushing to the channel and all that kind of stuff, man. Listen, if you got something going on and I can help you promote it, like you know me, there's enough room for everybody to eat. So send me what you got. I'll try to promote it as much as I can on my site. And just like I'm doing this super late. Normally I wouldn't be up this late, but I'm trying to get that West Coast audience because ain't nobody else doing it on the East Coast. So, I'm not trying to. Philly ain't going nowhere. I'll always be able to talk Philly, but there's a whole nother set of fans on the West Coast that just like to talk football. So, and that's me. I like to talk football, and we ain't always get to talk smack. So it is what it is. So I appreciate you, man, and be safe. Shoot Desai on. Nah, listen, Desai is not on the hot seat, in my opinion. Defense showed up. I don't know what some people are looking at. N'Kobe Dean was balling for all intent and purposes. I don't know where this word came out. And this is something that fans do that's frustrating for me, being a former player, is a lot of fans will hear something on television and everybody just regurgitates the same stuff. That drives me nuts sometimes. Because I heard all the stuff saying that how N'Kobe Dean looked horrible. And I was like, he didn't look horrible from what I saw. So, but in any case, have a good trip and be safe, bro. Sean decides not on the hot seat. Defense played well. Defense played well enough to win. If it wasn't for the defense, we would not have won that game. Period. So just by that alone, Sean Desai is not on the hot seat. Michael Clay is on the hot seat. Brian Johnson, he's not on the hot seat, but a lot of people are giving Brian Johnson the arched eyebrow because it's like you got to do better than that. You got arguably the MVP of the league last year, and that was a very lackluster performance. So I think Brian Johnson is more on the hot seat than Desai. I think Desai is fine because as bad as the linebackers appeared to be, linebackers were still making plays. So D1 scholarship for Miami, but you blew your knee out. Good thing you went to rehab, bro. Good thing you went to rehab. But listen, man, I'm about to shut this down because I'm tired and I'm ready to go to sleep.
I feel you, man. I had a long day too, man.
Yeah. What time is it out there?
It's 9:54.
Oh, okay. Yeah. See, I think maybe next time, maybe not. Well, you know what? Because normally, if I was doing what I would normally be doing, this is about this time I would go to bed, right around 1 o'clock. So it ain't nothing different. So
Hey, you let me know, man. I'm always willing, man, to jump on, man. Talk about sports, man,
For sure,
all in
man.
general, man.
I want to
I
keep
really
this
appreciate it.
going, and I want to keep this growing, man. So I want to get
What?
to a
Hey,
point where we can have like maybe 3 or 4 people. But sometimes I get worried because I'm still not familiar with Twitter Spaces yet. So
no,
sometimes,
it's a little. It gets a little. It's a
yeah,
little It's very interesting on here. So you got to be
yeah,
real cautious about the people you allow to come up. Trust me, I've done Twitter Spaces for probably about almost a year now. I
yeah.
took a little break from it for a while, but yeah,
But
some people get a little wild.
right. So I gotta have the right people, and I also want to keep it where I can control it. Because basically, what I'm trying to do is because right now it's just me and you. But eventually, I want to get to a point where I can have maybe 4 to 6 people on, and then I can just toggle the people one at a time, so everybody not trying to talk over each other. But I know you can do that. But right
I
now, I'm not proficient enough at it to do it and then talk live on the podcast at the same time.
I got one Rams fan that I know he's pretty consistent with his takes, and he's not like even though he's a Rams fan, he's pretty honest about the teams. I know I would say he's one good person that I would recommend. Now there's a few other people possibly, but some of them get, like I said, sometimes their takes are a little wild, and I don't even really,
Yeah.
I listen to them, but I'll be like, yeah, I'm
Well,
not
yeah,
really
but
listening to them.
just bring them on one of the spaces because I know I'm gonna do some spaces that aren't live streams.
Okay,
So
then.
just to get a feel of the conversation. Slash and Santa, be safe, bro. Have a good trip. Um, but yeah, because I'm gonna have some more stuff like that just so you can gauge the conversation. Because what I'm doing is I'm making me a Excel spreadsheet of all the people that I talk to and like people that I would want to talk to. Vicky, thank you for joining in. I hope I see you uh, in the space again. Please subscribe and stay active. I'll get you on. I love talking football and I love people that can talk football, so I appreciate you. But I'm gonna get up on out of here because I'm about to ready
Okay,
to
then.
go to bed.
Hey, I had one question for you.
Sure.
What college did you say you played for? I know when I got in, you were saying, giving a little rundown of your,
Eastern
football
Kentucky.
history. Eastern Kentucky. That's what I thought you
Yeah,
said.
I
Okay,
played for
then I'm gonna
Eastern
have to check
Kentucky.
this.
Yep. And
Yeah, I want to go check the stats out. That's why I was like, man, let me go look, check this, check the history and stuff, man.
listen,
I like look,
I am not
I love it,
afraid to tell anybody I could run that. I could run that rock, dog.
man.
I could run. I was for a career when I left EKU. I was the all-time leading rusher in 1AA history, and I averaged, I believe it was 6.2 yards a carry. I could tote that rock, dog. So I'll end on that note.
Well, next time I'm gonna need you to give me a little how you feel about my the Charger running backs, man. After this week 2, I'll see what you know what I mean. Get your opinion on.
Absolutely, let's do it.
Awesome, man.
All
Well, you
right,
have a good night,
folks.
man.
You too, man.
Many blessings to everybody out there, man.
Appreciate that, man. And everybody, thanks for tuning in. And I will see you guys on the next play as usual. Hit subscribe, hit that notification bell so you can stay abreast on everything that's going on and you don't miss a thing. All right, y'all have a good night. Be safe. And I will see y'all in the next play.